Hi, in this quick video I'm going to show you how to deal with recording the COVID-19 records in your Timehub system. Now, for those of you who've got employees who are on the COVID-19 due to the shutdown and are not paying them at all, then you don't actually have to do anything, but we do have some clients who have indicated that they'd like to record the fact that their employees are absent due to COVID-19. Our recommendation is that even if you do record it in Timehub, that we are not exporting it to payroll because it's such a convoluted process and dealing with it in the payroll system. We're recommending that you just make the transactions in the payroll for as far as the physical payment is concerned. But if you do want to record it for either an employee who is on COVID-19 leave because they're in isolation, they're unwell, or they're supporting someone in isolation, that's the 14-day leave subsidy, then you can record that in here because that may apply to all or part of a week. Also, if you've got someone who's on the full subsidy and they're off for 4 weeks, then you can, if you want to, put it into Timehub. As I said earlier, you don't need to do that, but you can do that if you wish. So what we would recommend you do is the first thing you would do is you would go into your settings, you go into your daily rules, you would click add. Now I have prepared one earlier, I sound like a chef, but you would click on the add button and add it. But the details that you would put in is what I've done here is I've created a code called COVID-19 with a description of COVID-19. I've selected paid time off so that it's not paid hours, and I have put a tag against that of did not clock at all. Now, the reason I've done that, I've also given a dark color, and you'll see why in a second. The reason I've done that is because I want to record this in the system but not have it go to the payroll in any way. So by doing that, I've got a tag, which means that the data does not get exported to payroll. As I said earlier, if you want to process a payment for COVID-19, we recommend that you just do that in the payroll itself. So having selected that option, I can now do a number of things. So if I'm in my processing area, for example, I can go to daily times. And if I go into Julie and Dana, who are actually working, but that doesn't matter if I go into my record or go into Wednesday. So what I can do is I can come in here and say that Steve is, the reason Steve is absent, I had a red triangle. If you want to get rid of it, now again, if you just want to leave it as it is, you can ignore the red triangles. A red triangle doesn't mean anything. Nothing's going to happen. There is no processing done. It's just a warning. It's an alert. If you had a red circle, that's a completely different thing. So, but if I wanted to code that from away from my normal salaried staff daily rule to something else, I can click on the daily rules here, go down and choose COVID-19 and simply save it. So what I've done now is I've changed that to COVID-19, didn't clock at all, and there are no hours. Now, again, we don't need to record the hours because it's an entire day's event. If you want to record the hours, then you need to talk to the team and we'll show you a different way of doing that. So that's how you do it in the system on a day-to-day basis if you want to do that. The other option you've got is if you wish to pre-process this, so you want to actually go through and record that ahead of time, you can go into either the calendar. So if I go into the calendar and I bring up all of my employees, and if I go to here, I can go through, in fact, I'll go to next week, and I'll do it in mine. So I can go to my record, so here's me, and here's Bev. So if I go to my daily rules, I select COVID-19, and then all I do is click on the days that I'm expecting the employee to be on the COVID-19 leave. So that way I'm tagging that as part of the week or a whole week, depending on what the situation is. That will then set it up so that I've got a permanent record. I can report on the times that the employee has had COVID-19 if I need to, and I can also, that won't go through to the payroll, as I said. Now, if you've got a mixture, you might have a situation where you've got an employee on, I'll put Julie back onto her admin code. So I might have a situation here where I've been working, then I'm on COVID-19. So again, I can have a couple of days which will get transacted as per normal through the system, but then I can say, right, the rest of the week I was on COVID-19. So again, we're just identifying the difference between paid time and COVID-19 paid time where the subsidy applies. So that's how you deal with that. If it's, as I said, if it's a whole week, then you can run the calendar through for each employee that you want to do. If you want to do it on an individual employee basis, then you can drill into the employee. If you do that in the employees screen here and you go to their calendar, then you can see here I can come into next month and I'm going to say, okay, for April, Steve is going to be on COVID-19, and then I simply just go through doing that. Now, I'm doing this because I'm showing you, in our case, we won't be doing this because we know that the staff are on COVID-19 and we're dealing with it in the payroll. But that's how you would do it if you wanted to put it in that the employee is on COVID-19 for the entire month of April, and then that would deal with that, and then the system would process that accordingly. Apart from that, processing your Timehub is no different. If you've got employees who are working, you're doing exactly the same process as you've always done, and you're processing the data through to your payroll in the normal way. So if you're not using your Timehub and you don't want to do this, that's fine. What the team will be doing in the coming weeks is actually going in. If you've got no employees who have worked during this period and your daily times is showing that they didn't work here, what we will do is we will go through and we will roll each of your pay periods over once we see how the things pan out in the next week or two. So hopefully that helps. It's a quick option if you want to do that to actually process that leave accordingly.